Welcome to the AI Executive Brief. I'm Stephen Forte. Today, one thread ties together 1,000 layoffs at Snap, a survey showing the majority of C-suite leaders admitting AI is fracturing their organizations, and Molotov cocktails thrown at a tech CEO's home. And that thread is the cost of what you, as a leader, have not yet said. This is a single thesis episode. The thesis is this: CEO silence on AI is not neutrality. It is an accelerant. When leaders decline to set a foundation for how AI will be used in their organization, teams fill the vacuum with fear. And fear left unaddressed does not stay inside the building. Let me show you what I mean. Beat one, the layoff. On Wednesday, Snap cut 1,000 employees, 16% of its workforce, and eliminated 300 open roles. CEO Evan Spiegel told staff in a memo filed with the SEC that rapid advancements in artificial intelligence enable our teams to reduce repetitive work, increase velocity, and better support our community, partners, and advertisers. The projected savings, more than $500 million annualized by the second half of this year. Now, context. Activist investor Irenic Capital Management, holding a 2.5% stake, had publicly pushed Snap to cut costs and optimize AI just the week before. And Snap's heavily publicized $400 million deal with Perplexity, which would have embedded AI search directly into Snapchat, collapsed. So the company that couldn't close its AI partnership is now citing AI productivity as the reason it needs fewer people. The stock went up nearly 6%. Spiegel, to his credit, was direct. He named AI as the mechanism. He didn't hide behind restructuring or strategic realignment. Compare that to the growing list: Meta, Oracle, Salesforce, Block, where the memo says AI and the spreadsheet says margin. If you caught yesterday's episode on the 50% adoption line from Gallup and the sprawl of unmanaged agents, you know the pattern. AI is moving through organizations whether leadership narrates it or not. But here's what matters for this room. Spiegel told his people what was happening and why. Most CEOs have not, and when you don't explain the why, your team writes their own version. It is always worse. Beat two, the fracture. Reuters' 2026 Enterprise AI Adoption Survey, 2,400 respondents, puts numbers on that silence. 54% of C-suite executives now say adopting AI is tearing their company apart. 56% report it has created power struggles and disruption. Those are double-digit increases from 2025. Here are the numbers that should keep you up tonight. 97% of executives say their company deployed AI agents in the past year. Only 29% report seeing significant ROI. 35% are not confident they could shut down a rogue agent if it started causing financial or reputational damage. 67% believe their company has already suffered a data breach from an employee using an unapproved AI tool. And yet, 60% plan to lay off employees who won't adopt AI. 92% are actively cultivating a new class of AI elite employees, workers who are 5 times more productive and 3 times more likely to get promoted. Meanwhile, 29% of employees admit to actively sabotaging their company's AI strategy. Among Gen Z, that number is 44%. Let me give you a picture. Imagine a VP of operations at a mid-cap industrial company. She's been there 12 years. She hears from the board that AI adoption must accelerate. She hears from her direct reports that people are scared. She has no company policy to point to, no framework from the CEO, no guidance on what AI means for her team's future. So she does what anyone would do. She checks the news. And the news this week says 1,000 people at Snap got a Wednesday morning email because a machine can do what they did. Now multiply that VP by every manager in every company where the CEO has said nothing. 75% of executives in the Reuters survey admit their company's AI strategy is more for show than actual guidance. That's not a strategy gap. That's a leadership vacuum. And vacuums fill with anxiety. Even the $2 million a year executive at a major firm, and after the second beer, will tell you they're worried about their job. Everyone is worried except the owner. And the owner is worried about being outcompeted by someone who deploys AI better and faster. This is a very high anxiety moment for almost everybody. The question is whether you treat it that way or pretend it isn't happening. Beat three, the violence. On April 10th, A 20-year-old named Daniel Moreno Gama traveled from Spring, Texas, to San Francisco's Pacific Heights neighborhood and threw a Molotov cocktail at the gate of Sam Altman's $27 million home. He was arrested an hour later outside OpenAI headquarters, where security footage showed him hurling a chair at the glass doors and threatening to burn the building down. He was carrying a jug of kerosene, a lighter, and a manifesto warning of humanity's extinction at the hands of AI. He is now facing state-attempted murder charges and potential federal domestic terrorism charges. The next morning, Altman posted a photo of his husband and their toddler. "Normally, we try to be pretty private," he wrote, "but in this case, I am sharing a photo in the hopes that it might dissuade the next person from throwing a Molotov cocktail at our house, no matter what they think about me." It did not dissuade anyone. Early Sunday morning, 2 days later, 2 more individuals were arrested after firing a gun near Altman's home. And 6 days before the Altman attack in Indianapolis, Councilman Ron Gibson woke at 12:45 a.m. to 13 bullets tearing through his front door. A note under the doormat read, "No data centers." His 8-year-old son was in the house. The day before, that son had been playing with Legos at the dining room table, steps from where the bullets landed. Gibson's offense: he had supported a $500 million data center rezoning vote in his district. 2 incidents, 2 cities, 1 week, a tech CEO and a city councilman. The common denominator is not the technology itself. It is fear that has nowhere constructive to go. A Quinnipiac poll from March found that 55% of Americans now say AI will do more harm than good in their daily lives, an 11-point jump in 1 year. 80% are concerned, 65% oppose data centers in their communities. The Stanford AI Index reports that the United States has the lowest trust in its own government to regulate AI responsibly of any country surveyed, 31%, against a global average of 54%. This is not a fringe position. This is the majority sentiment in the country where most of AI is being built. The thread: layoffs, organizational fracture, physical violence, 3 stories, 1 week, 1 cause, the absence of a credible voice saying, here is what this means for us, here is how we will use it, and here is what it will not replace. Having no AI policy is a policy. You're just letting CNBC, the algorithm, and a 20-year-old with a manifesto set it for you. And fear, unaddressed, does not stay theoretical. It moves from anxiety to sabotage to resignation letters to apparently kerosene. Now, a rhetorical foil. Some of you are thinking, I'm not Sam Altman, nobody's throwing firebombs at my house, and that's fair, but the violence is the extreme expression of a sentiment that already lives inside your organization. When your best people are quietly updating their resumes because they read about Snap on Wednesday morning and you haven't said a word, that is the same fear, just wearing business casual. Here's what AI actually is for most knowledge workers. It's a digital employee. It is there to handle the reporting, the meeting prep, the PowerPoint, the Excel model at 11 p.m. that nobody enjoys building, the mechanical work so your people can go home for the soccer game. So the late nights get shorter. Most late nights are not strategic work. They are production work that a machine now handles. That is a story worth telling your team, but you have to be the one to tell it. Block cut 40% of its workforce, 4,000 people, in a single rip. Jack Dorsey cited AI, full stop. You can argue about whether that was right. You cannot argue it was unclear. Your organization needs that clarity. Either make the cut and move forward, or explain how AI brings velocity and capability without replacing the people in the room. But do one or the other. The middle, the silence, is where the damage compounds. Close. If you run a company and you have not yet stood in front of your people and explained what AI means for them, not the board deck version, not the strategy for show version, but the honest version, you are not protecting anyone. You are handing the narrative to the most alarming headline of the week. 92% of the C-suite is building an AI elite. 60% plan layoffs for non-adopters. 55% of the American public thinks AI will harm them. And somebody shot 13 rounds into a city councilman's front door over a data center. The question is not whether your people are afraid. They are. The question is whether they hear it from you or from the world. Silence is a position, just not one you'd choose if you thought about it. That is the AI Executive Brief for Thursday, April 16th. I am Stephen Forte. If this was useful, share it with someone who needs to hear it. I will be back Friday with more. Until then, stay sharp.